So this is a review of arithmetic sequences. It says Della starts out with doing 10 push-ups on his first day of working out. He increases the number of push-ups 3 more each day. How many will he be doing on the 59th day? So if we think about this as a sequence, an arithmetic sequence, he starts out by doing 10 push-ups. Then he adds 3 more, so 13. Then he adds 3 more, 3 more. So we are saying if this pattern keeps going, how many is he going to have on the 59th day? So right now we've got day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we could write our explicit formula that looks like this. And our first term, if we're going to use the minus 1, is going to be 10 in this pattern. And then our slope is 3. It's 3 more every day. But we want to know when is Della going to, how many on day 59. So we plug in 59 for the n, and so 59 minus 1 is 58. Times that by 3, add 10 more, and our answer should be 184. There's another way you could have done this problem. So let's say you didn't want to use the first term. Let's say you wanted to use the 7th term. So if you use the 28 plus 3 and 59, you would be subtracting 7 instead of 1 here. But again, you're going to end up with 184 either way. And that'll work for any number. So if you put 19 here, that means that we're going to be subtracting 4. And so on. So if we put 22 here, we're going to be subtracting 5. This next one, Sherman Tank has $80 in her bank account. She's going to add $75 every month for 23 months. So again, right now in her bank account, 0 months have gone by and she's got $80. So if you wanted to put 80, that's actually your 0 number because 0 months go by. After 1 month, she's added $75 into her account. So now she's got $155 and so on. So now she adds another $75 to her account, which would be $230. And then the pattern is going to continue. So in this one, again, we can do that same form. If we're going to use the 80, then we're going to be adding, well, our slope is still 75 every time. We're going to have 75. Then we've got 23 months that we're finding, but if you just want to put n for now, that's fine. And then because it's the 0 number, 0 months, we actually use 0. So in this case, this is really 80 plus 75n, because really you don't need the minus 0. And so from there you could just plug in 23. So if we plug in 23 for n, we're going to have 80 plus 75, plug in 23, and our answer is going to be C. Well, if you wanted to do it without using the 80, you could use the first term, which is what we're used to doing. So 155 plus 75, again 23 minus, and I use the first term this time, so I do have to minus 1. We'll end up still with 1805 as our answer. And the last way you could have done it, using the numbers that I have, would be to do f of n, plugging into 30 plus 75 and then 23. But this time I used the second term, so I'm going to have to minus 2. and that'll also give you the 1805. So Bob has $256 in the bank after 1 month. So after 1 month, he's got $256. So he adds 125 every month. So if he adds on 125, that's 1. Carry the 1, that's 8. And that's 381. And then again, you could keep going, add another 125. So that's 506. So the pattern is we start with 256 after 1 month in the bank, and then he's adding 125 every month. So in this case, we've got f of n. I can pick any of the 3 numbers. It might be easiest to just use the first one. That's what we're used to. The slope is the number it's going up by. And then n minus, I used the first number, so I'm going to minus 1. So then I can plug in. Really, I'm plugging in, well, I want 2 years, and since I'm talking about months, I'm talking about 24 months. So in this case, we've got 256 plus 125. Oops. We don't need parentheses around that number. So 125 and then 24 minus 1. And that turns out to give us answer C on this one. Again, another way we could have written it, we could have written f of 24. Let's suppose we want to use this second term. So we could have put 381 plus 125. And then 24 minus 2. And also that's going to give us the same answer. Next, Bob Wire is going to an amusement park. After 1 hour, he rode 3 rides. After 2 hours, he rode 7 rides. After 3 hours, he rode 11 rides. How many will he go on after 12? So 1, 2, 3. Yes, we could keep going all the way out to 12. But that would take some time, and we want to do it the quick way. So in this case, we're going up 4, so our slope is 4. So we're going to have f of n equals, I can use any 3 terms. Let's say I want to use 11. So if I use 11 plus, we've got a slope of 4, n minus, I used 11 this time. That means I have to use minus 3. Because it's the 3rd term. So then I could plug in, I want 12 hours, so I'm going to do f of 12 is 11 plus 4, 12 take away 3, and in this case our answer turns out to be 47. So that would be 47 rides after 12 hours at the park. If you prefer to use the first term, that would change this to be a 3 here, because the first number is a 3. And that would change this to be a minus 1 because you're taking away the first number. And again, we're still going to end up with 47. Okay, number 5 is we want the nth term. That really just means instead of putting in a number for n, it's just going to be n. And so the first term is 20, negative 20, and so that means the answer is not C, it's not D. And since our numbers are getting bigger, it's going to be adding, and it's adding 4, so our answer on this one is A. Similar question, so the first term is 48, so again our answer is A or B. And then it's actually decreasing this time by 3, and so we're going to go with minus 3. On the next one, it says the second term is 8, and the third term is 12. What is the first term? So because it went up 4, if we're going to go backwards, we're going to minus 4 to get this number. So 8 minus 4 is 4. So the first term is 4. And it says next in number 8, in an arithmetic sequence, the second term is 8 and the third term is 12. So we're actually working with the same sequence as number 7. We've got 8 and 12, which means that we know the first term is 4 because we already found that in the last problem. find the 29th term. So I'm going to do f of n equals, I can use 4, 8, or 12, doesn't matter. But if we want to use the first term, that's fine. We know the pattern is going up 4, so I'm going to have another 4 here. And n minus, again, I used the first term, so I'm going to minus 1. So now I'm going to plug in 29. So we've got 4 plus 4, plugging in 29 minus 1. And the answer to this one is going to be A, 116. Okay, we've got the fourth term, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 29, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the eighth term is 45 here. So the way that we could find the first term, the easiest way is to actually find the slope or the number it's going by. So the fourth term is 29, so it's 429. The eighth is 45, so we are going to find the slope of these numbers. So if we are not sure the difference between the two, we can do 45 minus 29, and that gives us 16 here. And 4 up to 8 is just 4. We can figure that one out. And so we're going to have our slope of 16 over 4, which is just 4. So our slope is 4. And then we could subtract 4, and keep doing that. So if I do subtract 4, I get 25. Subtract 4, I get 21, and if I go one more, I get 17. So that's one way of doing it, because we know that the pattern is increasing by 4. We got a positive 4. There is another way to do it. If we wanted to use f of n, we know that the eighth term here is 45, and we know the fourth term is 29. So I can use those numbers, and I can either use 29 or 45. If I go 29, then I'm going to add my slope, n minus, I use the fourth term, so I'm going to use minus 4. And then we actually want the first term, so we could plug in 1 to this. And if we actually type that in or do it in our heads, we end up with the same answer, which is 17, either way you go. Okay, the next one is actually the same pattern, because it's the fourth is 29, the eighth is 45. But now this time we want the 100th term. So in this case, again, we could use the 17, because that's the first term if you prefer to use the first term. We found that the slope was 4 from the last problem, and then n minus a 1 because we're using the first term, which is 17. Another way we could do it, again, we could use 45 if we want to, plus 4, and n minus, in this case, that's the eighth term, so I'd minus 8. Either pattern or either equation is going to work out just fine. So then we're going to plug in the number 100 here, or we could put it here, either way, and our answer ends up to be 413. So then the last one that we have here, it says find the 109th term. So we're going to have f of n. If I use the first term, I'm going to have 6 plus, the pattern is going up 5, n minus, I use the first term, so I'm minusing 1. And then here we're going to actually plug in 109. And if we plug that into that equation, we end up with 546.